Hello and welcome to Dream Team Coach TV, brought to you by Betway. I'm Sean Burke. Joining me is Andy Taylor, Jack Townsend and Nick Elliott. Coming up on this week's show.
So I'm sorry to disrupt the game, but that's criminal, isn't it?
It really is. Nick for England manager, I say. Makes a lot of sense.
Oh, I'd absolutely take Bielsa for England, by the way. I thought he loved an underdog job as well.
Eric Dyer is the boot of the England team.
Well, I'll tell you who isn't going to win, England.
Yeah,
Yeah, the favourites. That's what I want to see.
the boldest take yet. We are in the middle of an international break this week as the World Cup qualifiers begin in earnest. That's right, they're qualifying for the World Cup and we haven't even played the Euros yet. Weird how everyone's been injured this year, isn't it? Gareth Southgate named a team that raised some eyebrows as England play San Marino, Albania and Poland. Now, as of recording, they haven't played San Marino, but will have when this is released. Anyone care to predict the scoreline?
I feel like we always play San Marino.
Yeah, feels the same for Ireland as well.
What are Ireland bagging against them, though? 1 or 2?
We could be setting ourselves up for a fail here, Nick, because we might only beat them like 1 or 2-0.
Oh, please.
Fair enough. This just feels like a kind of game, though, isn't it? Where Kane, again, we're talking about a game that's already happened. Well, we haven't watched, but I imagine Kane's bagged 4 and in like a year's time, it kind of gets forgotten that what happened and everyone's looking at Kane's numbers like, wow.
In the past 10 years, we've played San Marino 4 times. We've beat them 6-0, 5-0, 8-0, 5-0.
Anything under 5-0 is a bad day in the office, really.
Yeah.
How's Gareth going to set up? We thinking 5 at the back, 2 defensive midfielders.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just
Stop
be
that
cautious.
counter-attack. Yeah.
It's funny, though, comparing the team, because in research of this, I looked at the teams he put out in the Russia World Cup. And I have the lineup here that he had against Croatia, and he's got 3 at the back. So it's basically the opposite of what you said there, Jack. There's 2 up front. He's got Sterling and Kane up front. Then he's got Dele Alli, Jesse Lingard, Ashley Young, Kieran Trippier. It looks like 4 attacking midfielders. I know that's not actually the case, but then Jordan Henderson, John Stones, Harry Maguire, and Kyle Walker. Do you think he's getting just more and more defensive as time goes on? Because he seems to have an end to supply defenders.
3 at the back is the same as 5 at the back. Do you know what I mean? 3 at the back means 3 centre backs. 5 at the back means 3 centre backs. You've only got 2 wing backs. So when people say 3 at the back or 5 at the back, you're talking about the same thing, really. It's a kind of typical thing in language, actually. You know, if Man City do it, it's 3 at the back. If Burnley do it, it's 5 at the back.
In terms of the formation, I think it's actually fell into place for him quite nicely because I think he has to play Rice and Henderson. I don't think you have to play a 5 at the back then, or you should be playing a 5 at the back at all. If you've got Henderson right, like if you've got 2 of the best central midfielders, probably in world football right now, there's no excuses to play 5 at the back. You know, whereas you look at, say, someone like Wolves who plays 5 at the back, I watch them every week. When we play Moutinho and Neves, we don't really have that steel in the middle of the park. So teams can run through the middle quite comfortably sometimes when they're not at it. But you're right, Nick. Unless Southgate's got the bottle to play basically Grealish or Foden in the 10, I'd personally play both of them. I think you can play Grealish in the 10. I think you can play Foden probably off the left, which is what he's done for City and looks unbelievable doing that. Unless he does that, then it's pointless. But, you know, we're probably going to get... Who are we going to get there? Probably Mount or Lingard, maybe. You know, both all right, but it's not going to win you a Euros, is it?
Hold fire on the chat for a few minutes as it's time for the 4 to Score challenge. This week, our sponsor Betway has set us a challenge in honour of the international break, and it's another game of higher or lower, this time with England international caps held by current players. Okay, so first up in the list, I'll start with Jordan Henderson, who's got 58 caps. Right, next up, Harry Maguire, higher or lower?
Are we doing the thumb method again?
Yeah, the thumb method worked nicely.
Oh.
You're all correct. He's got 30 caps. Okay, next up, Kyle Walker, higher or lower?
Who are we doing it for? Maguire.
Walker.
So does he have more or less?
Look at Jack, he didn't even know who it was and he's already put him up there. That's how
Yes, you're all right. He's got 53 caps. Kyle Walker has 53 caps. John Stones, higher or lower? Hesitating.
He didn't even look and he put his phone down.
You're all correct. He's got 39 caps. Okay. Eric Dyer, higher or lower?
I don't want to be influenced.
Okay, you're all right. He's got 45 caps.
Oh, it's close.
Spurs got a half century.
I'm sorry to disrupt the game, but that's criminal, isn't it?
It really is.
Okay, let's just let that
I would
sink in
love
for
to
a
see
moment.
some of the players that have got less caps than Dyer, by the way.
Dele Alli, higher or lower?
Oh, my word. I'm going down.
Congratulations, you're all correct. He's got 37 caps.
Oh!
Ross Barkley, higher or lower?
Jesus.
Christ. He has been around a bit, hasn't he? But
Surely.
it's got to be, surely.
You're all correct. He's got 33 caps. Right. And next up, Marcus Rashford, higher or lower?
If this is wrong, I want Hodgson and Southgate arrested.
He has got 40 caps. So he's got more than Ross Barkley. Sorry, Andy. Oh, right. Well, we're still going here, but you'll have to stick around to find out who wins this week's 4 to Score challenge, because right now it's back to the football chat.
I've just said my brainchild of a formation. You know, as you just said, Nick, the 3 at the back normally means there's wing backs. I've gone, sack them off. Just get 3 centre backs there, and then you got your Rice and Henderson, and then I've got Grealish and Foden both in the number 10 role, but obviously can't both have the number 10 shirt. Sterling on the left, Kane down the middle, Saka on the right.
John Stones is not going to like it out wide, is he? Though he's going to get. Imagine Mbappe just playing off the left against that formation.
Yeah, but that's where Henderson's got that. Henderson can drop in. Henderson's everywhere. This is my more defensive formation, ever so slightly.
Oh,
and by defensive, yeah, but you got Maddison playing in that.
You're all over Saka, aren't you? What's all that about?
Well, I was just looking for someone that likes playing on the right.
Well, that's a good point, because actually we're stacked for options on the left. You know, Sterling, Foden, Harvey Barnes all play their best football coming from the left. I mean, Grealish plays there most of the time for Villa, Rashford. Whereas on the right, in terms of who's actually playing there regularly for their club, it's going to be either Sancho or Saka, really. And Saka's only just moved there recently.
Why don't we put Trent up there? Get his in-swingers.
He's not even in the squad.
He's going to be lucky to make the squad at this rate.
Yeah.
It's that classic club team debate, isn't it? It's like, well, do you want to keep winning 1-0 and try and get towards the top of the league? Or do you want to play like Leeds? Sometimes you'll get battered, sometimes you'll win really well, and it's an exciting game of football.
Are you saying Bielsa for England? So
I'd absolutely take Bielsa for England, by the way. I thought he looked an underdog job as well. Sure,
that's exactly great.
What do you think? Does Gareth Southgate have any favourites, do you think, at all? Or because with somebody like Trent, you think, oh, he can't drop in, but
he's Trent's never been Southgate's guy, is he? Like he should have played a lot more for England already. And now it's kind of like his form this season is kind of feel like, you know, Southgate's excuse to kind of do what he's always wanted to do and not actually playing. Pickford's one of his favourites. I mean, he's injured at the moment, and he's been made lots of errors, but I'll be very surprised if he doesn't make the squad for the Euros. And he might even start. This is a classic thing with international football, right? It's the constant debate with, do you go with guys in form, or do you guys go with the people that haven't let you down? Because Pickford actually hasn't ever let Southgate down. In fact, Pickford was probably one of our best players at the World Cup. He did that shootout stuff in the Nations League as well. I know people don't really care about that, but if you're just from Southgate's point of view, he's thinking, well, I always pick Pickford. He's actually always done well for me. But obviously, you can't really ignore the fact that he's cost Everton half a dozen goals.
I think you're right, though. Eric Dyer is the one, though. Just because I just think, do you know what? It's more just the message that it sends to every other English footballer out there that basically, if you get Pally with Southgate, because Dyer's not played the last 5 games for Spurs in the league, I would personally have Keane, Konsa, Godfrey, me, Tarkowski, Dunk, Ben White, Adebayo. All of them I'd have over him. If you can confidently say there's at least 5 or 6 players better than someone that's being selected in the squad, regardless of why he's being selected. Like if I was someone like Ben Godfrey or Konsa, I'd be like, well, what's going on? I mean, the argument could be made that Ezri Konsa is actually better than Tyrone Mings. I don't know. It's just a bit like institutionalized almost, isn't it? It's like once you're in kind of vibe at the moment. And, even the interview with Lingard, Southgate was like really trying to get Lingard back into the setups by hook or by crook. He was guiding him. Apparently he was one of the inspirations for him staying in England and going to West Ham. And obviously it's worked out really well for Lingard. But it's just interesting. I'm like, I wonder whether Southgate's in the ear of, Ben Mee going, mate, try and get a move to West Ham so you can get him our setup. Do you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't quite work like that.
I think you talk about has Southgate got favourites? I think and again, like Andy, I'm not knocking Lingard's call up. He's got 5 goals and 2 assists in 7 games for West Ham since going there. Can't knock that. What does Lingard have to do to get games for England versus what does Grealish have to do, or what does Maddison have to do? Do you know what I mean? Like Maddison's hardly kicked a ball for England, despite being very, very good for 3 years, 2.5 years. Grealish is obviously, the amount of work he had to do to actually get there and get some minutes compared to, this is Lingard's. Lingard's probably got 20 caps at least already.
Yeah,
and this is probably the only time, of his career when he's actually thinking, like, okay, fair play, this is completely justified. But you have to think that before this call-up, he's already got 20 caps under his belt.
What about Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well? He's another one that's been overlooked. Do you think?
We're probably going to lose him forever now. He's probably going to declare for Democratic Republic of Congo because
really?
You don't really.
He's never made a debut. Has he?
No, he hasn't. And who could blame him at this stage?
He's England's best defender, by the way.
So I mean, 20 years ago, he'd be absolutely nailed on. Well, he'd be our starting right back for England because he's one of the defensively one of the best fullbacks in Europe. The roles change so much that you're like your Reece Jameses and your Trent Alexander-Arnold's, Kieran Trippier's, etc. Jump the queue, but I think we should take Wan-Bissaka just because you've got a bit of variety. Do you know what I mean? You would never pick, if you were picking 3 centre forwards, you'd never pick 3 quick little guys. You think, right, we need 1 quick little guy, we need a target man, and we need someone who can do a bit of everything. You pick options. Why don't we do the same at fullback? Why don't we pick Wan-Bissaka because he's incredible defensively? Like you say, Andy, if we're playing France and we're up against Mbappe, let's pick Wan-Bissaka because actually he did a great job against him when Man United played PSG. And then when we've got other games, that's when you can play Reece James or whoever you want.
Nick for England manager, I say. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Nick, when you were talking about the whole 5 at the back, 3 at the back thing, kind of reminded me of when people refer to cars as 5-door cars. It's like, are you referring to the boot as a door? That's misleading.
Eric Dyer is the boot of the England team.
It's time for the memes. Each week, our panelists submit a meme to the Dream Team Instagram page, and you folks get to vote for your favorite. So if you're not already following us on Instagram, head on over to our page and get involved. First up is Jax, I believe.
I went back to Route 1, big club, big-ish clubs.
Next up is Nick's, I believe. Is this yours, Nick's?
Yeah, I mean, I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing. I even sent it through just like, this is going to have to do. It's completely detached from any relevant narrative. And
then last up, I presume, is Andy's.
Yeah, no, it's just obviously that lad's shocking golf net was doing the rounds on the internet the other day.
Well, the results are in. In third place with 154 votes is Nick Elliott.
Thank you.
They just love the topical stuff. They love the topical stuff. I liked it, if that's any reassurance. In second place with 273 votes is Andy Taylor, which means again, in first place, he's on a ridiculous run of form as Jack Townsend.
Top four me, that includes Spurs, Liverpool and Arsenal.
Only this week, though.
Oh, yeah. That is all you've got in the locker these days.
Oh, behave. Last week was
topical. All you've got. That is all you've got.
All this talk of international tournaments is getting me excited for the Euros. Ireland didn't even qualify. Not to worry. I'll just put my support behind the same team I always do instead. Whoever's playing England. Come on, lads. I don't know who you are, but I don't really care. Speaking of England, Betway currently have them down as favourites. Is that optimistic, or do you think that's a genuine possibility?
Well, also the thing about this is usually happens is that England always kind of have a false position anyway because they get a lot of backing from people in England kind of thing. So they get they get shorter odds. But actually, this is unique because we're actually also favourites with a lot of bookies abroad, which is quite unique because that's a kind of true reflection. Quite where that's come from, what have France done to annoy everyone else? I'm not quite sure.
I'm assuming just the home advantage element is just massive, right?
Possibly, yeah.
That's what they're thinking. I don't think it will be an advantage.
I think what they're saying is that at least for the group games and stuff, if it was all held here, which they're still not sure, they would still only have like what they've been doing in some stadiums, like 40% capacity or whatever.
Oh, I see. So, okay.
I don't think there's going to be a roaring atmosphere.
Well, as long as we've got those drums, then we're fine. No, that's the as long as they get in there.
It is a strong squad, but as you say, Nick, they've forgotten about France. I mean, who would be the next favourites after England?
I've gone Portugal for my next favourite.
Yeah.
Personally. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can't. The power of Ronaldo.
Portugal is a really good shout, just because it's quite rare to see international teams that are like properly coached. Do you know what I mean? Because like France, are really good, but they're not like really coached. It's kind of like Deschamps does a good job of getting the really talented lads out there and happy and everything. Portugal are like genuinely, they've got what England kind of think they do, this really cohesive unit. And like you say, Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano Ronaldo, João Felix, this as a kind of attacking group have done really well. I mean, Ronaldo scored how many international goals since turning 30? Obscene amount, more than most people manage throughout their whole careers. So I think Portugal is a really good shout.
But why are they not fancied as much as Spain, Germany, Belgium, France, England are all fancied more than them, and I don't quite understand.
I think you get when it comes to big tournaments, people just default to the same names. No matter how much finesse Germany are in, people are always going to say, well, you can never write out Germany. Germany could not qualify and people would still say, well, let's not look past Germany. I know they haven't qualified, but I still bat them for the semis.
So we know who might win it, but who's definitely not winning it? And I don't want to hear North Macedonia here. I want some hot takes.
Yeah, I'd say Spain. Out of all the big teams, if you want a team that I think will underperform, they're in a bit of transition. I mean, the only two guys left from the golden age are Ramos, who's kind of untouchable, but he's 35.
Mm-hmm.
But he's kind of almost doing too much now. He's captain, first name of the team sheet. He's taking the penalties. He's taking free kicks. He's kind of like well, everyone, all these other lads have gone. I just had to try and do it all. So him and Busquets are kind of the only ones left of the triple tournament winning crop. The guys like Morata, up front, who's fine. But is he gonna win the Golden Boot to win you a tournament? Probably not. And they've got, they're kind of relying on guys like Pedri in Barcelona, who looks really good. But are you just going to hope that an 18-year-old comes in with hardly played any games for you and win you a tournament? Obviously, Thiago Alcantara, great player, hasn't had the smoothest transition since moving to Liverpool. They're kind of looking at guys like Adama Traore. Obviously, he's not even guaranteed to start for Wolves. So compared to what Spain used to be, they're really intimidating. Spain would almost beat you from their lineup alone. When you look down, you think, well, it's basically a Barcelona Real Madrid hybrid. What are we going to do against this? Now, if you look down and thought they're playing Leeds' attacking midfielder up front. They're playing Adama Traore. They're playing Wolves' reserve right winger. Do you know what I mean? It's just you don't. It's not the same fear factor. And I think if any of the top teams are going to underperform, I could definitely see them.
I'm going to go with Belgium. Look, they've got KDB, obviously world class, but we've discussed many times in the show, he needs a lot around him to really utilise what he does that is world class, which is obviously assisting. He's got Lukaku up top. I think it's all on Lukaku, pretty much. I think if he doesn't turn up, I think they're struggling. If you think that Benteke and Batshuayi are in their current squad and Trossard, I don't know, we've always looked at them as almost underdogs because it is Belgium, and I don't think they've got that track record that perhaps like a Germany or a Spain has. But what always stood out to me was the defence. I always looked at their defence. It was really Premier League heavy. But actually now you look at Vertonghen, Alderweireld and Vermaelen. Vermaelen's still in there, by the way, who plays in Japan now. All in their 30s, all definitely declining. Even Eden Hazard's obviously really struggled at Madrid this year. And probably, the odds are that he won't be fit for the Euros. And even if he is, he probably won't be able to play every game. So if you dig beneath the surface of KDB and Lukaku, there's actually not a lot there.
Jack, any picks who's definitely not winning for you?
I won't be as in-depth as you two on why not, but I just got a feeling Netherlands are going to underperform. I'm just looking at the team sheet, and they got Ryan Babel lining up for them. 34-year-old Galatasaray playing Ryan Babel.
I'll be honest, Jack, I think that's a safe option from you, because I think just seeing Ryan Babel on a team sheet for me is, they're not winning.
You got Patrick Van Aanholt defensively, and
exactly. Yes, it's not. You're not being bold in this.
Not being bold enough. Okay.
Tell us Germany aren't winning or something like that.
Well, I'll tell you who isn't going to win. England.
Yeah.
The favourites. That's what I want to see.
Boldest take, yes.
England aren't going to win it.
Well, we have to find out who won our 4 to score challenge this week. It was between Nick and Jack when we left it last time. So let's see what happened. Oxlade-Chamberlain, higher or lower? So Marcus Rashford had 40 caps.
Jesus, he's been around a bit, hasn't he?
No,
Jack's just waiting for Nick.
I'm just going to...
Right, well, you're both right. He's got 35 caps. Jesse Lingard, higher or lower?
Well, he's been in every Southgate squad.
Yeah, you're correct. He's got 24 caps. Harry Kane, higher or lower?
Oh, correct. Come on. Is that even a question?
Raheem Sterling.
Kane's got more goals, I think.
How many,
yeah.
How many did Harry Kane get?
He's got 51.
And I do the same.
Isn't that third
I'm going to go. I'm going.
That's really tough. More.
All right, you're both correct. He's got 58 caps, Raheem Sterling. Now I'm going to take it down a bit, so it's going to get really close. So Harry Winks, higher or lower? Okay, so you're both correct. Tammy Abraham, higher or lower? So Harry Winks has 10 caps. You're correct. Trent Alexander-Arnold, higher or lower?
How many? He's
6.
got 10, 6. I think maybe low. I'm going to have to go low.
He's got more. So, Nick, you're still in it. Congratulations. Trent Alexander-Arnold has 12 caps. Tammy Abraham had 6. But that was a long one. That was a good run. 15 in a row. How many did Andy get last time?
I think it was that many.
Congratulations, Nick. You've won our 4 to score challenge this week. Well, that's all from us, folks. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Dream Team Coach TV, brought to you by Betway. No Dream Team games this weekend, so in the meantime, you just have to cross your fingers and hope to God your star players don't get injured. See you again next week.